Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested, and today I wanted to share with you a book that I've been so excited for. This is Star Wars: The Art of Ralph McQuarrie. That's right, the legendary concept artist who worked on the original films, and it blows my mind that there's never been before his entire work on Star Wars in collected form. Last year I went to Star Wars Celebration. I walked around the entire convention center looking for art, and there have been individual prints, there have been some collections, a part of his work, but never before this entire 800-page collection. And only very recently did archivists and authors go into Lucasfilm archive to dig up that art, rescan it, take a look at those matte paintings, and put it in this beautiful format. We went down to visit one of the authors, Brandon Alinger of Prop Store, who worked on this book, to learn about the process of making this amazing tome. So let's jump to that interview now. So now I'm here with Brandon Alinger. You know, we were here just shooting some stuff with you, and I thought it'd be a great time to chat with you about your new book.
Yeah, that's right. Just released. This is Star Wars Art, Ralph McQuarrie, published by Abrams. And this is the definitive tome on Ralph McQuarrie's work in the Star Wars world. So every piece of concept artwork that he did for the films, every matte painting, every production painting, every Lucasfilm Christmas card, everything that he did in the 90s for publishing projects, it's all here in this 2-volume set, 800 pages of Ralph McQuarrie here.
Wow, I want to know from you, first of all, because you're the author of this book, you went through the archives to help rescan, find all the information, interviewed people who'd worked with him, people currently working in Star Wars. Like, what are some of your favorite pieces? And tell me about the whole scanning process.
Yeah, I mean, the process of doing the book was a big one. You know, I worked with 2 other co-authors on it, Wade LaJose and David Mandel, 2 talented guys who knew a lot about Ralph McQuarrie. The biggest challenge for us was actually figuring out how to organize all this material because there was so much artwork. We spent days and days at Skywalker Ranch just going through the flat files, making notes on what pieces were physically there, comparing that to Lucasfilm's digital image catalog and what had already been photographed or scanned in the past, and basically trying to develop the comprehensive list of every piece of art that had to go into the book and then work out what is the order that we're going to present this artwork in. And we settled on chronologically, so we try to present the artwork to you to the best of our ability, to the best of the information that we have, in the order that Ralph did the pieces, which I think is a very interesting way to see the story unfold. So I can show you a couple of my favorites in here. You know, these are some of the very first sketches for Darth Vader, and this piece in particular has never been published in the past. This portion, this sketch here of the bust sketch only has been published, but never a clear scan of it. And this piece was owned by a friend of George Lucas's and Ralph's from the time. He's had it hanging on his wall for decades, and we were able to track that down and get a scan of it. And, you know, in addition to just showing you the artwork, we also have some great information to give the pieces context. We have great quotes from McQuarrie himself. We dug up archival interviews from the Lucasfilm library. We went and did new interviews with many of McQuarrie's colleagues. And so, you know, one of the quotes that I loved was reading things like, he says somewhere, "I did the initial sketches for Darth Vader in about a day." And I mean, these are those sketches. You know, he literally sat down and knocked it out. And it is Vader essentially as he came to be. I mean, other people had a hand in it, John Mallow, Brian Muir, who sculpted it, but the overriding look of it was set down by Ralph McQuarrie in a single day, which is pretty cool.
And so you said some of these pieces you actually had to track down. They weren't in Lucasfilm archives.
That's right. Yeah, there were a few that weren't there. You know, there were some pieces that were out in the hands of private collectors. I mean, there's over 2,000 pieces in the book, so there's a huge volume of artwork here. This is another favorite of mine. This is a piece called The Fantastic Five, and this was done by McQuarrie sort of as a logo, maybe in the vein of a poster piece, but it shows this real alternate look of Star Wars where C-3PO looks like the Metropolis robot, Chewbacca looks like the lemur.
Starkiller.
Yeah, and the female Luke.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen versions of this, low-res, printed out on posters or banners when Star Wars was originally teased at conventions way back, 35 years ago.
Yeah, and I think this was on the cover of a magazine at the time. So it was published, but you know, I got to see the original of this in the archives, and it was just one of my absolute favorite pieces. Just loved that one. And
then also the work in progress that led up to that.
That's right.
Piece.
Yeah, the tissue pieces that Ralph did to transfer to the illustration board before he did the final painting. The concepts, working out the blocking. You know, most of the paintings in here, we show you all the development art. So if it is known to exist, then we have it in here. Things like the thumbnails. You know, Ralph was famous for starting with a 2-inch thumbnail where he would block out the scene, and then he would blow that up into a bigger concept sketch, and then ultimately do the tissue for the painting and then the painting itself. And kind of a similar thing here with the matte painting. So like this is a matte painting study for Tatooine, and then this is the actual larger glass matte painting for the Tatooine planet. And this is a favorite of mine because it's the opening shot of the film.
Wow.
So McQuarrie's matte painting for the Tatooine horizon. And we did these little graphic mock-ups to show you in the book. It actually gets used in 2 separate shots. So it's used, this section of the painting is used for the shot of the blockade runner running away from the Star Destroyer. And then in the next shot, they use a slightly different section of the same piece of glass, the same artwork, to show you the blockade runner coming towards you.
Someone who's literally building worlds as part of that creative process. Oh,
yeah.
wow.
It's a beautiful blow up of it. All the matte painting photographs are new. We went into the matte painting cabinets at the archives at Skywalker Ranch. They're these great big wooden cabinets that are holding these pieces of glass. The Empire matte paintings are even larger. These are probably 3 or 4 feet long. The Empire matte paintings are more like 5 or 6 feet long. So we had an art photographer come in and take all new images of these. We intentionally did things like leave the aluminum frame in so you can see his overspray and see the process, which I think just makes it a little bit more interesting. This was one of the smallest matte paintings he did. This is printed at almost 1-to-1 scale. So this is literally 2.5 inches across, this moon of Yavin here. And that was one that we found with a private collector as well. So there's a huge amount of artwork, 2 volumes, everything he did on all the films and beyond. And it's had very positive reviews on Amazon so far, which we're happy about. And I understand it's up to its 4th printing. So it seems like people are enjoying it, and that's very satisfying for us because we spent 2 years working on it. So happy to have it out there.
Sharing with us some of these stories. I would love to just sit down and have you audiobook narrate behind the scenes.
Well, it's all there. You can read it. We'll get you a copy of it, and you can read it.
Awesome. You guys can check this out. It's on sale now. Thank you so much, Brandon.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for coming in.